Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, so I don't know what the title of this video is going to be yet. It's a thought that just came to me because I'm actually, again, I'm studying NLP again, starting from beginning all the way go through trainers training, etc., all the books. So obviously I'm never going to read all the books in my lifetime, but I'm reading all the books that I have again. And I bought some new ones. So there's something that came up. I'm going to call it a pattern. So, okay, so whether you have a phobia or you have an addiction or you have fear, anxiety, or let's say you're stuck, okay? Maybe you used to do really good in life, but then something happened and you're stuck and you're like, no matter what you do, nothing works. Now, these are all what I would call patterns, or another way of saying that is actual programs that are inside your system. We literally have something called meta programs. These are programs that run automatically. So I'm at a place right now, like, okay, I was watching some YouTube videos and I'm listening to these people that they're just in their programs. Nobody's home. They're not conscious at all. I mean, they're not there at all. I mean, not even 1%. They're running off of these unconscious programs that we built in at whatever age. Okay, you can get a program from learning a new sport, like you're learning how to do a certain, like quarterbacks, they're teaching them how to read the field when they do a 5-step drop or a 3-step drop, like here's what you read. The goal is to get them in that pattern, so they got to perfectly execute it over and over and over until it becomes an unconscious program. Now the thing about sports are so fast, especially collision sports like boxing, kickboxing, football, wrestling. It is so fast, it has to be a program. If you do not have, and here's the thing, your program has to be programmed precisely exactly the way it's supposed to be done. Not slightly off or slightly fast or slightly, it's got to be boom, boom, boom. Like this is the best program as a quarterback because you got 3 steps and you got to throw. So you got to look at this receiver, this defensive player, if he's covered, boom, you move the next one, the next one, the next one. You got to make a decision. Now years ago, I mean over 15 years ago, I worked with professional athletes, mostly boxers and kickboxers, because that's what I was associated with. And you would see people with these really horrible unconscious patterns, and I would walk in and work with them. Sometimes I could get it in the first day. Sometimes it'd take 3 sessions and a little bit more than that, okay? But generally 3 sessions or so. So this is why you want to work with people who specialize in what they do. Like they're really, really sharp. They've been doing it for a long time. They focus on it. They're just relentless. Now, what does this have to do with you? If you're unhappy, if you're depressed, if you're going through situations that are just making you miserable, or you're not living life to the fullest, it's because you have a program, probably multiple programs, that are wired to put you in a bad place or in a bad emotional state. Okay, and I'm going to turn this around to something else, which is really dealing with narcissists or dealing with avoidance or just dealing with people's issues, because there's something that we all go through with other people, and I'm going to help give you something. Something that I believe will help you to free yourself from people with toxic behaviors or bad patterns, etc., etc. I'm going to give you a different perspective shift on how to look at things. Okay, so let's just talk about a phobia. The phobia cure literally should work within 45 minutes or less. I mean, really, if you catch it, sometimes they might have another issue connected, then that might take another session or another 2 sessions. So it really depends, but generally a pure phobia, you should get it done in 1 session, 3 sessions at most. Even then, it really shouldn't take that long. Now here's why. It is literally a program, and I mean like a computer program. It's a pattern. It's a pattern, step 1, step 2, step 3. So when this happens, we literally break this down, and the very first thing is what we call the trigger, like the trigger of a gun. So once this gets triggered, all this series of this, what we call it's a strategy. There's steps in each strategy, anywhere from 3 steps to 5 to 7 to sometimes more. And once that thing gets triggered, boom, it goes through every single step. Now here's the thing about this. When you work with people with phobias, you become very aware, like, oh, this is just a program. This is just a very negative pattern that takes them into this very negative place. So all you have to do is interrupt the pattern, and here's the really cool thing. We can actually change the actual unconscious strategy, and we do it on a neurological level. We wire a better pattern into it. So I'm not going to get into it because with phobia cure, you basically just break that pattern. There's a series of steps we do that just completely destroy the pattern, and it goes away. Now usually what I do, okay, I had a client who had an absolute terrifying fear of frogs. Let me give you this story. So when she came over, like for about 30 minutes, she wouldn't tell me what the problem was, and I'm thinking, well, how the hell am I going to help her? And I'm thinking, well, it must be something really embarrassing or personal or, you know, sexual or something like that, and it wasn't. And what it was, and she goes, I can't tell you, and she's starting to shake. I'm like, why? And she goes, it's frogs. And this woman was overweight. She was, I don't know, 35, 40 years old. She'd had 3 kids. She was not in shape. She jumped straight up. She was short too, about 5'10", 4'10", 4'11", maybe 5 foot tall. She jumped up on this wooden table. It was kind of an extra tall table compared to normal tables, and she broke out an instant sweat. And I was like, holy shit. I mean, it was just like I don't even know if I could do that right now. So here's what happened. So she unpacked the story. That's part of what we have to do. We have to unpack the strategy. We got to go like, so what is it? Like I had to find the trigger. If you can't find the trigger, you're kind of screwed. So I'm going to cut to the chase. So here's what happened. When she was a little girl, the very first time she got cut and was bleeding, and she goes, you know, as an adult, I realized, you know, I wasn't going to die, but when I was a kid, it was the first time I saw blood coming out. And in my mind, I thought, if blood's coming out, well, you're going to die if you don't stop it. And I remember when I was a little kid, I was about 4 years old, we were playing hide and seek, and I cut my finger, and it wasn't bleeding bad, it's just a little bit of drip, drip, drip. And I'm like, oh my God. My brother's like, be quiet, because we were playing hide and seek, and I was right next to him. I'm dying. He goes, you're not dying. He goes, you're just bleeding. And he took off, and here I'm thinking he left me alone to die. I literally thought I was going to die. Now, lifelong problems can happen from the simplest little thing. Sometimes it's not even bleeding or anything. It's not even that bad. I'm going to give you another story because it'll show you how something that was not traumatic at all caused massive trauma in your life. Alright, so back to the woman who jumped up on my table and broke out in a sweat. What ended up happening was I kept pulling her back into time, like when did it first start? And she goes, oh, when I was a little girl, I think she said 4 years old, I had stubbed my toe. I think they were playing hide and seek, or they were running around. I think it was hide and seek. And she said I was bleeding, and she goes, you know, it wasn't a big deal, but to me, I was scared. And my dad, to pacify me, because I was just crying hysterically, thinking I was going to die, and he was just trying to get me to quiet down, he went and got a bucket of water, and he put a couple ice cubes in it, and he sat me down, and he goes, here, put your foot in this, it'll make it better. And he walked away, and she goes, and then I turned back down and looked in the water, and she goes, because of the water, it made the blood look like it was, 10 times worse. And she's going, oh my God. And she thought she was dying. And her brothers, being the little shits that they are, and that was her terms, she said they each caught a frog, a tiny frog. And I think she had 3 brothers. And they threw all the frogs inside the bucket of water with her bleeding foot, and the blood's kind of seeping into the water, getting worse and worse and worse. And she's just freaking out, thinking she's going to die. And what happened was, unconsciously, neurologically, she connected frogs to death. Now, so here she is, a grown adult, and she, her husband came up about a week or 2 weeks after, and he goes, are you Mike Kollin? I'm like, yeah. He goes, I got to shake your hand. I goes, I can't believe. So he had told me, he goes, I have taken her to psychiatrists for decades, not decades, but I think it was 12 years. I have taken her to doctors, hypnotherapists. He goes, I have taken her to everything, and she's tried medication, this medication, that. He goes, Michael, you have no idea how embarrassing it was. We'd literally say we're at a park at like one of our son's children's parties, one of his friends' parties, children, and she would just start screaming at the top of her lungs. And all these adults are like, what's the problem? He goes, I would have to pick her up, walk her to the car, carry her to the car, and then drive her home. He goes, He goes, you have no idea how many. He goes, even if someone mentions the word frog, or if a frog image comes up on a commercial, or if someone's got a frog stuffed animal on their couch, and she just loses it. So here's the deal. Here's one thing we say in NLP. You either know how to fix it, or you don't. It's not about opinions, theories, and philosophies. It's about steps. Like, what's the structure that her brain was doing to cause her to be in that panic? Well, unconsciously, she gave the meaning of frogs equal death. Now here's the thing. She didn't remember any of this. She didn't remember when she was a little girl, she stubbed her toe, was bleeding, her dad tried to pacify her, bucket of water with a little bit of ice, and her brother's throwing frogs in it. She had no idea why she had this phobia. In fact, when she came to me, she goes, I don't know why I have this phobia. And that's usually how it works. Another one was McKenna Bay's, Bob Bay's daughter. He was teaching at a Tony Robbins seminar years ago. I mean, I'm more than 25 years ago, probably 28 years ago. And he brought up his daughter. She had this fear of abandonment. And he goes, and the funny thing is, it's like, you know, here I am, the head psychologist at Syracuse University. He goes, I couldn't figure out why she had this, because she's never been alone in her life. She's never been abandoned. And here she is in high school having all these major abandonment issues, just freaking out. And he goes, I tried everything. He goes, nothing worked. Until he learned about NLP and the phobia cure, etc. But that's not what this story is about. Now watch this. What happened was, one day they had their family and friends over. It was the summer. They had a barbecue in the backyard, and he said she was in the kitchen looking out the window at the backyard at the barbecue and all the friends and family. And I think he said he and his wife were in the kitchen. They were making hamburgers, patties, and he goes, and they carried him out the back. And what happened was, for some reason, she went to the bathroom or went upstairs or something. Then when she came back down or into the living room, which was the front of the house, she looked outside and she saw their brand new Mercedes-Benz driving off. So she starts freaking out. Now, here's the story behind that. It was a brand new Mercedes-Benz, but it was a lemon. It had been in the shop more times than they had it at home. So eventually Mercedes goes, you know what? We're going to send someone. They're going to pick it up. They're going to drive it. Don't worry about it. Just leave the keys here, and we'll come get it. So she was in the living room, and everyone was out back. And she when she saw the car drive away, now she was a little girl. I think she was like 3 or 4 years old. She thought the whole family drove off and left her home alone. And so she started screaming and freaking out. And then she literally started running through the living room, running through the dining area, running through the kitchen. And then she looked out the back window, and everybody was back there, and she completely calmed down. And that's what caused her abandonment issue. Now, how they know is because they took her and did some timeline therapy with her, did the phobia cure, and et cetera, and they figured out what it was. And once they cleared that, boom, it was gone. Now, why am I bringing these up? Because these are programs. These are patterns that are hardwired. Now let me point something out. It's really important. It took one time for the frog phobia and one time for the abandonment issue. One single time to create a strategy, an unconscious strategy that became an unconscious pattern that was locked in. Here's the deal. They both got fixed in one session, literally. Now, they did go to psychiatrists, took medication, went to psychologists, went to this therapist, this hypnotherapist, this, that. Didn't help them. But when you find someone who knows how to find it and what it is, that pattern can be changed. Now, that's, again, not exactly what this video is about. But it explains patterns. And there's an issue that I know all of you have dealt with your entire life, and you didn't get out of it because you didn't understand something. So, real quick note, by the way, I am trained and certified in the phobia cure, NLP, Ericksonian hypnosis, everything that I'm talking about in this video and other videos. This is what I've been doing for 30 years. So if you need help with any of these things, get a hold of me at mike@mikekollin.com or call. I'm going to give you my landline. It's 415-747-8598. So go ahead and call that. It's a landline. Okay, so you might be saying, okay, so what is this about? So most of you on this channel, especially in the last 5 years, came to me because you had dealt with narcissist abuse on some level to a really, really dark level, really deep level. So one of the things that gave me the advantage of getting out of narcissist abuse, especially as an adult, and it's not just that, but it could be people that are just, they're mean to you, or they're negative, or they're this, or they're that, is I understand something that a lot of you, because you don't even know that now a lot of you, now that you listen to this, the first half of this video, you're aware of it. Now I'm going to point out what I mean. Let's take worst case scenario, then we'll go to second best scenario, second worst scenario. Worst case scenario, you're dealing with a real demon, a demonic narcissist. Like, this guy is just, or girl is there, all they do is all these, you know, like ghosting, gaslighting, you know, love bombing, hoovering, devaluing, you know, all that stuff, humiliation rituals. Here's the thing. These are patterns that they learned at a very young age. So whenever you learn something, you're not consciously aware of doing it. Like a salesman, one thing they say about salesmen is, and they used to write, you know, let's say you get this master salesman, like this guy's just a freaking phenomenal salesman. So people are like, hey man, you need to write a book and make more money. So he writes this book on how he does it. And when people read it, it doesn't help them at all. Here's why. Because consciously, you're only consciously remember maybe 1% to 3% of what it is you're actually doing. The rest of it is some things you've learned on an unconscious level, and you're doing it without realizing you're doing it. The great thing about NLP is we can study someone and watch their eye patterns, their unconscious body language, their movements, the anchors they do, the predicate systems, and all the stuff that people are not conscious of, and go, oh, I know what he's doing. He's doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now let me install this into you and make you a better salesman. There's a lot of things that people are doing unconscious that they're not even aware of. So let's say you're dealing with a narcissist. Now, for a lot of us, it was really hard to get away because we felt bad. I mean, like, God, I don't want to abandon this person. I don't want to hurt their feelings. And then it got so bad, like, you ran away, right? Well, let's say you have a friend that's actually a friend, or someone that you know that's not a narcissist. But every now and then they'll just yell at you and scream at you, and then you're like, oh, what the hell? Like, what's going on here? Or they treat you like shit, or maybe they picked up the habit of gaslighting from a narcissist that they dealt with. So it became an unconscious pattern because it rubbed off on them. Or maybe it happened to you too. So let's say they're doing a couple negative things and it really hurts you and it really brings you down. Like, let's say, I'll talk about avoidance in a second. Alright, here's the best way to talk about it. Something happened to me very, very recently. Someone that I've known for 6 years, very much appreciate. And one thing that I've learned from dealing with narcissists, don't go to sleep. You need to be conscious when you meet people, when you're around people, when you interact with people, etc., etc. So one thing that I've learned to do after dealing with narcissist abuse, once I woke up to it, when I come home, my brain kind of goes through, well, how did you feel when you walked away? If I feel like really bad or like ashamed or hurt or emotionally down after dealing with someone, I tune in. Okay, so what did they say? How did they say it? What was the look? How was their response to what I said? And what have they done? So what happened was someone kind of shifted on me, and they kind of did something. I thought, okay, that's kind of out of character. Like, what's going on here? So what I do once I pick up on something, I start really paying attention. Okay, so number one, when I'm on my own, I kind of like defragment things and kind of like go through it, say like, are they doing this on purpose? Did they do something wrong? And then so this person did something that was out of character, that was not cool at all, and I thought, okay, this is weird. Well, maybe he's having a bad day, but I'm gonna pay attention. So then he did it again, and he even asked me, oh, hey, by the way, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, sure, and didn't follow through. And then it happened again. They actually called me, and then they didn't follow through. And I was like, okay, what is this? Because this is unusual for this person. So then they did it a fourth time in a row, and I thought, you know what, that's it, I'm done. Now here's why. Now this was a person that I've known for a long time. Now if they come back and apologize and say, hey man, I was going through something, I'm so sorry, blah blah blah. But even then, I will very much be paying attention to what they follow through with. Like, you know how people say like actions speak louder than words? Well, this was one of those situations where he kept saying he was going to do something and didn't. And it was kind of like, wait, So what I realized was, for whatever reason, he was continuing this pattern. I thought, yeah, no, this is just wrong. I'm not going. I'm not mad at the guy, but I just thought I'm pulling my what you call my energy back. I'm not going over there. I'm not calling. I'm not texting. Nothing. And if he wants to reach out and call me, then I'm going to be like, well, like what's going on? Like what are you doing? But then I'll be watching. Now, here's one thing I understand about people. Is, let's say someone's doing you wrong. Maybe not all the time, but it's something that hurts you and this, and that. What a lot of you would do, maybe hopefully used to do, not no more, is you might get mad at them and say, why do you do that? That's not, that you let me down, you this, you that, and you keep doing it, blah, 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 blah. And you think like if you just confront them and you get mad at them and yell at them, then they're going to be like, oh, sorry, man. And they might actually apologize, and they might actually mean it. And then 2-3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, or 2 months later, they do it again. And you're like, dude, like, what is your deal? So here's what I realized years ago because of NLP. People have unconscious patterns. If, let's say you sit down with something, they're like, dude, I'm dead serious. I'm sorry. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I keep doing it. If you don't change the pattern, it doesn't matter how much you yell at them. It doesn't matter how many times you tell them not to do it. It doesn't matter how many times they admit it. It doesn't matter how many times they apologize. If it's an unconscious pattern, you have to get in there and change it, because this is just who they are in the moment. Meaning, even on a, okay, let's take Brandy, the woman with the frog phobia. She goes, Michael, I know it's ridiculous. I'm a grown woman. I don't understand it. And her husband was embarrassed. I mean, these are two grown adults. It's not a logical thing. It is a computer wiring or a computer program pattern. Here's a meta program that'll help you understand programs. We have unconscious programs that are built into us from childhood, from our parents, from whatever. And I'm going to get to avoidance in a second. So there's something called towards and away from, okay? 100% towards motivation meta program would be that you only do things when you're motivated and you go towards it. So towards motivation strategy would be, I'm going to make $1 million. I want to make more money. So that's like the carrot, right? You're going after something that's positive, that gives you a reward. The away from is the stick, something that's going to punish you. So like, oh, I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be poor. So it motivates you because you're like, I don't want to be poor. So you're running away from poverty. And you work really, 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 really hard, and you make more and more money. Some of these people become multimillionaires, but here's the really weird thing. I probably shouldn't say weird because it's a program. What these people will do, somebody who has a true away from, see, you can have a percentage like 50-50, like towards 50-50 away, so it's 50%, or you could have like 70-30 or 80-20 or 90-10 or 10-90 or 20-80. You know, so it could be like 80% away from, 20% towards, or 70% towards, 30% away. So it depends. There's a range. Now here's the deal. If someone will make a lot of money and be very, very rich, and then they go all the way back down, they lose all the money to become very, very poor, and then about 2 years later they work really, really, really hard, they become very, very, very rich, multimillionaire again, and then about 6 months later they crash down, they lose everything. People that have a history of going up, down, up, down, up, down, they have a very, very, probably 90+% away from motivation. Because here's why. When they get rich, well, they lose their motivation because they're so far away from being poor. It's like, well, you don't really have any motivation. So what happens is when they start getting really, really, really poor, they start getting poor and poor and poor, they start to stress out. They're going, oh my God, this sucks. And then when they hit rock bottom, they're like, oh my God, I have to do everything in my power to get out. And they get really inspired and motivated, and they'll work overtime. They'll work 60, 70 hours a week. They'll do everything in their power until they get rich again, and then they stop again because they lost their motivation. This is just a pattern. It's just a program, and yes, you can change them. So one thing I want to say, if you haven't picked up on this yet, is You don't need to suffer in life, okay? You can change your patterns, you can change your programs, you can reprogram and set things in a different way. What I mean is if someone like me works with you who's an NLP trainer, we can it's not even reprogramming, it's just shifting and changing and altering the program. Now, a program can be set literally by one instance. Someone looks out the window, the car gets driven off by the person who came from the Mercedes-Benz dealership, thinking, oh my God, my family abandoned me. She starts freaking out for about 7 seconds, running through the living room into the kitchen, looking out back on, oh, okay. And like Dr. Bob Bay said, she was fine. She walked out. She wasn't even crying. She was fine after that. Now let's take an avoidant. Now here's the deal. It's not just avoidance. It could be you and me. It could be patterns that you got from being raised by normal, healthy parents. It could have been a mistake. Like sometimes, like you look up to your parent, like your father, so much, and they say, okay, my mother used to always say 2 things. Number 1, the more money you make, the more stress you have. I heard that probably 150, 200 times between the ages of 1 year old to about 6 years old, at least. I'll tell you what I find when I make more money. I relax a lot more. I enjoy life a lot more. I'm a lot more happier. I didn't used to be that way. Another one that caused resistance, because I worked so hard to be successful, is she would keep telling, like, let's say we're watching like the Olympics, right? She would say, yeah, you got to be born special to be an Olympic athlete or professional athlete. Or we're watching like the Donnie Marie show, and like, oh, you got to be born that way. You got to be born that way. I remember as a kid, I would look at my mom, and I remember one day I said this, and holy shit, did she get pissed? I said, no, Mom, all you have to do is practice for a long time. You get really, really good at it, and you can be just like them. And she looked at me, and holy shit, did I get the belt the next morning. I learned my lesson. You have to be born that way. Now, obviously that's not true, but these are the things and patterns that we can get from our parents just because they believe, and she really truly did believe it. Now, whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. Now, here's my point about all of this. Number 1, you can change it inside. We have the technique. We understand how to change these things. We have we have the technology. Number 2, if you're dealing with people that are bringing you down and they're like, oh, you can't succeed, because one of the biggest problems with people, like, I remember, like, I was in my probably early 30s going, I don't understand, like, what is it going to take for my family to finally realize that when I put my heart and soul to something, I can do it. I had won so many state titles, national titles, racing, boxing, kickboxing, BMX, you know, artwork, music, everything I did, and it was like, when I started doing NLP, they're like, dude, you can't do that. And they really laid into me at one point when my uncle screamed at me, you can't do that. And it flipped him. I mean, he flipped out. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? So here's the deal. It's their own limitations. Because in their mind, they're like, well, you know, you're my cousin or you're my brother. Like, I mean, I couldn't do that. Like, so in their eyes, that means you can't do it. And they're like, what are you doing? So arguing and fighting with them and trying to convince them that you can is a waste of time. They will not, because neurologically their wiring, the programming is, no, that's not possible. Now, if you're an NLP trainer and master hypnotherapist, sure, you can change their mind. So let's get to avoidance, and I'm going to make it really quick. Avoidance, essentially, they get this lesson repeated over and over and over. Be independent, stand on your own 2 feet, don't rely on anyone. Love, it means, triggers their abandonment wound, and they freak out and they run away. So these are programs and patterns that were built into them at a very, very young age, and then they were repeated over and over. Simply meaning they were just reconditioned into them over and over and over again. So here's the thing, even avoidance programs can be shifted, healed, and changed. So let's say you're dealing with someone who just brings you down, they hurt you, they're a good person, but they got these negative traits. Stop trying to argue with them, stop yelling at them, stop crying. It will not do a damn thing. I mean, their heart might be like, I'm so sorry, I will do my best. Until that program gets changed, you're just talking to a brick wall. So now, because I'm very aware of what's going on, I don't get angry. And here's what I mean. So like this buddy of mine, it's like, you know what? This is just a pattern that he has. And I picked up on it. Like, yeah, I'm not going to deal with this because it's not right. But here's the really cool thing. Instead of getting angry and like why does he keep doing this? I'm just like, this is the pattern that he has, and until he wants to go and get it changed, there's nothing my screaming and yelling or crying or complaining can do about it. So now dealing with people is a lot easier because it's like, okay, here's another thing for me. Walking away from people is a lot easier now, because it's like, it's not a matter of, oh, they're bad and they're wrong and they should be punished or I should yell at them. No, it's a matter of like, it's like a dog that has a pattern of doing something. Like, until you change that pattern, there's nothing nothing you can do unless they want to. Okay, I forgot this piece that I started talking about 10 minutes ago. So when I said you need to stay awake instead of falling asleep, let's say you meet a friend, and in the beginning it's great because this is what narcissists do. In the beginning they love bomb you, they treat you really well. But then after about a month or two, they start to shift, because here's what happens. You fall asleep in that pattern, and that becomes a pattern of, oh, and it's an unconscious pattern of whenever you think of this person, see this person, interact with this person, that program in your brain plays thinking, oh, this is a good person. They love me all the time. They treat me really well, even when they're treating you like shit. So here's what I meant. Number one, people change, and people can change for the negative, okay, or positive. So let's say in my friend's case, like he's, for the most part, he's been very good, very this, very that, but it's like something changed and something shifted, and like, whoa, what's going on here? Now, I kind of fell asleep to it because he got away with it for a while, but then I was like, wait, what is this? Because I evaluate things when I walk away from people, I kind of mull through it, and because of getting hurt by a narcissist, one thing I've learned is that whenever you deal with something, you can't just assume, oh, this is a good person all the time, every time, for 2, 3, 4 years later, or even 4, 5, 6 months later. People, let's just stick with the narcissist. They might be super nice to you in the beginning, but here's one thing narcissists know, is that humans fall asleep. And what I mean is they go to a meta program. When you're in one of your meta programs, you are not conscious at all. You stepped out of the present moment. You stepped out of consciousness and you said, oh, I'm just going to be lazy and let this program run. And so the program takes over. So narcissists will love bomb you, love bomb you, love bomb you. They're building a program in you that will run automatically. So then later they can humiliate you in front of their friends, because to them they're getting off like, look at this idiot. I'm just shaming him in front of everyone. And he it's like he feels it, he hurts, but in his brain, the program of the love bombing runs, thinking, well, this is who this person is. They never hurt me on purpose. And that's why they love bomb you in the very beginning, because they run this program until it becomes a program, love bombing, and you begin to only view them, call it through that program, or filter, no matter what they do to you, no matter how much they hurt you, steal from you, stab you in the back, talk behind your back, do it right in front of your face, because that's kind of their goal. They want to see how good they got at building this program. Can I do it right to their face and them still look at me like I'm a good person, like I'm still this loving, kind, good person? It's not that you believe that. You do believe that for sure, but it's more like, it's like looking through a filter. You still look through the filter of love, thinking, oh, they're being loving right now, when they're not. It's like looking at a red apple, but you have green filtered glasses on, and you're like, what color? And I do this with my clients a lot. I actually have 3 different colored glasses: red, green, and purple. And I'll put it on and say, what color is this apple? Like, well, it's obvious, it's green. I'm like, look again. They're like, yeah, it's green. I'm like, take the glasses off. They're like, holy shit, that's a red apple. So number 1, you can absolutely change your programs. Number 2, you can realize if other people are running programs or they're doing something negative, let's say you ask them one time, like, hey man, I really don't like it when you do that. If they keep doing it again and again, it's a program, it's a pattern. There's no reason to get upset or hurt or miserable over it. Just be like, you know what, do I want to deal with this? And if the answer is no, then just walk away. Now another option, you can say, hey, I know this NLP trainer, Mike Kollin, who can change your unconscious strategies and patterns. You know, I'm kind of being tongue-in-cheek, because most people, when they're like, you know, when they're said, hey, you know, I know someone who could help you, or like, you need to go see a therapist, they're very resistant, because remember, they built that program, that pattern, for a reason, just like people build towards motivations or away from motivations or whatever. It was meant to benefit them so they could be lazy. And not only that, but our meta programs make us feel good, whether we like it or not. So we can become very defensive of our programs, and this is why alcoholics were like, they don't want to give it, it's like, they might get to a point where they really do want to, but then there's the other side. I'm like, dude, I really love this stuff, because what it does for me is it helps me sleep, helps me get rid of the worry, helps me get rid of the fear, helps me, you know, this is why people do drugs. This is why, so they're really, people have to want to change, because if people are holding on to the programs, they're not going to change no matter what. My point in all of this is, if you are dealing with people who are hurting you, holding you back, you know, financially or business wise, or they're hurting your business, or they're being negative, oh, you can't do that, who do you think you are? These are programs, and if you sit there and try to argue, fight, have a discussion, it's not going to do anything. My recommendation, walk away. Now for me, it brings peace of mind, because it's not that, oh, this is some horrible person and I hate them and I'm going to be angry at. No, it's more like, oh, well, they got a program that I don't like and they're probably not going to change it, so I just move on with my life. In the past, I would try to work it out with this person for months and months and years and just be exhausted to where it got so bad, like, oh God, I can't do this anymore, and I walk. Now I'm like, oh, this is a program. Until they change it, well, I'm just going to walk away. It's not an exhausting ordeal anymore. It's just quick, it's done, it's over. Oh, and by the way, if you're a guy and you can't meet women, or they don't meet you after the first date or whatever, all it is, in other words, if you're not successful with women or relationships, these are just programs, they're strategies, they're unconscious. Same thing with women. It's the same thing with having a, you know, meeting the right guy, or, you know, a lot of women, a lot of people have a program of going to the wrong person. You were raised by a narcissist, that's a program, and now you feel familiar with them. And a lot of you are like, well, how come my whole life I've dealt with narcissists? Because it was a program that attracted you to it. Same thing with bad men or bad women or bad relationships. These are just unconscious patterns and programs that you're not aware of. Alright, that's it guys. God bless you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you got something out of this video, if this video helps you, go ahead and click subscribe, click the like button, go ahead and make a comment. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. And remember, regardless of whether you're an avoidant, someone who has a program you don't like, you're not motivated, these are programs you can change. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.